Welcome to episode 9 of the UFC podcast. My guest today is 2-0 in the UFC, has yet to see the judges' scorecards, and is just fighting in the lightweight division. Chris Padilla, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good, man. Just chilling right now. Just watching some anime, hanging out with the dog.
Hell yeah. And just speaking of anime, I saw that you have a production company with your brother, Padilla Bros Productions. Can you just speak about that?
Yeah, me and my brother. Right now we put it off for a little time right now, but we're into like creating manga and stuff like that. Right now we're writing. We're both working on our drawing skills each. So yeah, right now it's on the side since we're just so busy right now. But uh, just know when I retire, you might be seeing some manga from me.
Hell yeah, man. When did you find that as one of your passions?
Shoot, man, I could say it's always been a passion since I was a little kid. But after it's like I would say it's like even a funny origin story. Like I used to draw all the time, man, and after like one day, like I had my all my drawings with me on paper, and then like I was crossing the street with my mom, and all my papers fell out of my hand, and when I went to go grab them, she like grabbed me. She was like, "No, like they're gone now." And then after that, I was like, "Damn, bro!" Like it kind of stopped making me wanting to draw because that was just so many. It was probably like over 50 pages of like little drawn out pages and speech bubbles, all that, and it kind of pushed me away from it. But then me and my brother started talking again, and we were just like, "Let's do it again." So uh, like I said, it's always been a passion personally.
Did you start out watching anime first, or did you start drawing first, or what's that kind of connection there?
Definitely watching. I would say, I'm sure Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Naruto, list can go on. Cowboy Bebop, all those, man. Obviously, I loved American cartoons, but like, anime just brought a different feel to it. You know, it was more. I feel like American cartoons are a little bit more comedic and episodic, while anime had like a storyline. It was a little bit more emotionally tied. Uh, it felt very realistic. Like, oh, you could put yourself in that scenario and be like, oh, what if I was like this guy or like this guy, you know? So yeah, I definitely started watching it first.
Absolutely. And how does it just watching it, a lot of it isn't in English, or maybe there's not even words. So you are learning to, watch a story or learn a story just from the images. Is that kind of what spoke to you?
You know what, man? So basically, what they do is like so in America, I'm not sure how old you are, but I don't know if you remember Toonami.
I'm 25, but I never actually have gotten into anime. So I'm not an anime fan, but I know some people that
Gotcha.
are. So it does interest me, but I'm not that well versed in anime.
There's some good ones out there, man, and I know you're into fighting, and like for me, when I look at anime, like that connected fighting for me so easy. Like I do a podcast with my friends. It's called the Path Podcast, but we talk about anime, and they ask me like when we talk about fighting, I'm like, this character is my motivation for this camp. You know, like just like the mindset that each anime character comes in with. Like, oh, this will be my mindset for this one. Like my last one was it's this anime called Bleach. The character's named Kenpachi. Like he's known for being like uh a person that just thrives in battle, basically. Like he just loves it. So like that was my motivation for my last camp. So yeah, man, just it really pulled me away from all the outside for like instead of going outside for Naruto to come on, get ready for my all my cartoons to come on, you know? So yeah, man, it I would say it had a very, very big impact on my life and still does. As you can see, I was just watching some right now. So like it it motivates me a lot.
Yep. Man, I think a lot of other fighters um have that connection with anime and fighting. First off, I mean, a lot of it is Japanese and Japan, and the samurai, the warrior code is just kind of embedded into it. So I can see that connection. And then you have a fighter like Israel Adesanya, who comes out and is writing Death Note on his hand right before he goes into a fight.
Yeah. Yeah, Death Note. One of those two, man. That was a legendary one, personally.
Yep. So, I mean, it's just a kind of a cool connection. I don't think a lot of people would, see a UFC fighter and be like, oh, they're anime fans, but it seems to be like a lot of them actually are.
Yeah, man. Like I said, just bro, I've seen some animes, man, where it was like like a character be giving like a speech while fighting, bro, and like I've gotten chills, like I've had tears come to my eyes where I was just like, where the character's just speaking to you so well, where you're just like, man, like I know from the moment you start that sentence to the moment you ended it, I know exactly what you mean. And it's like this one called My Hero Academia, and the main character or one of the main heroes, his name is All Might, and he's like talking about giving plus ultra, like giving your entire self to each battle, and then like that right there was like, man, I know that feeling. Like even when you're down and out, you feel like this is it, like still going beyond your limits, you know. So that right there was like, okay, I gotta be able to push beyond what I think I can, you know. And dude, I shit you not, tears just started running down my face, and I was like, I'm gonna go beyond my limits, you know. So yeah, it's hard. I'm sure it's hard to picture, a fighter as a nerd, you know. So, but hey, man, the stories they get to you,
Hey, dude, I'm gonna have to start trying out some anime. So
I'll
that's
send you some.
okay. Let's do it. Because that feeling is the feeling that I get when I watch you guys fight. Just that like overcoming feeling of like, shit, dude, like I need to go work. Like I can do more with my life than what I am doing.
Man, hey, you know what, brother? I'm not gonna lie, that give me chills just hearing that, because that right there is that motivates me to fight harder, to give performances, man. Give not only good performances, but give life-changing performances, man. Like I want to, that's my goal, to pass on to the next generation, like how to be smarter fighters, how to still uh uh how to fight smart but still give entertainment, you know. I noticed that's a it's a thin line, you know, where people see like, oh, he's a smart fighter but he's boring, or you're a crash dummy where you're entertaining but your head has a lump and your eyes you can't see, and then within 2 years of your career you're basically cooked already, you know. So like I want to find that balance of being smart but also being entertaining.
That's one of the smartest things I've heard a fighter say. Because you're right on. So much of your career is predicated on the excitement that you can give fans, but at the end of the day, the win is actually more valuable. You get your full paycheck. First off, you get your win bonus, and it's a lot harder to get cut from an organization when you're winning. So, I know Dana always
Blacked
speaks
out.
about providing exciting fights, and he just wants exciting fighters, but that finding that line is so difficult, and that you're searching for it is it's awesome to hear.
Yes, 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 man. Like exactly what you said. Like you could be super entertaining, man, but you lose two or three fights, you're cut. You know, you get half your money. People love you, but man, sometimes that love doesn't translate to paying bills. You know, and then like if you're boring, then you always get pushed aside. You always get pushed down in fights. You never really get the recognition. So in some way, you're still losing money because you're not getting the attention you deserve, even though you're a winning fighter. You know, you just saw Mokayev get booted from the UFC, not only because he's a born fighter, and I don't personally think he's a super born fighter, but it's again, it's that thin line, man, and it's right there, man. I just don't think a lot of people care to search for it. You know, I think a lot of fighters they're caught up with the glamour of being entertaining, because that's kind of what's fed to us. Uh, Again, I love Dana White's Contender Series, but if you look at what he looks for, he's always looking for the crash burn type of fighters, you know, and that I feel like that trains us as fighters to go, oh, I need to go and I need to be super entertaining, otherwise Dana White doesn't care about my fights, and so that's kind of teaching the new generation that you have to go do that. But then they get in the UFC, and then a lot of guys don't make it past, their first contract. So uh yeah, I take that upon myself to go, you know what? I'm gonna teach these guys how to fight. And
Yeah,
yep.
I mean that's spot on. And you have to, I guess, keep in mind too that Dana owns a company. Like the UFC is a promotion company. He needs the fights that he can clip, put onto Instagram, and that can go viral. He is trying to build viral moments. And so, of course, those fast knockouts, the crazy submissions are going to be what gets pushed out on TikTok and, gets a lot of views. But he also is trying to create the number one MMA organization on the planet. I still firmly believe that the absolute top tier MMA fighters are in the UFC. I think one championship and some of the other organizations do have elite level of fighters, but it's not as consolidated in the UFC. Um, so I guess it leads me to the question with the Contender Series, because I personally have the opinion that the Contender Series is watering down some of the talent in the UFC. I think Dana is a little bit too willing to sign some of these fighters. And, part of that's from the ESPN deal and having to have a certain number of fights each year. And so you have to have a larger roster size. But you're one of the fighters that didn't come through the Contender Series or the Ultimate Fighter. You had to come in on a late, last minute fight. I don't know exactly how many days it was, but it was a late replacement fight. The guy ended up missing weight, and you had a first round submission. So can you just speak to kind of your alternative way into making the UFC instead of coming through a Contender Series or Ultimate Fighter, one of the feeder organizations?
Um, I would say, man, it was so basically like 4 days, 3 days, basically. But like, my manager told me, hey, you might get a short notice call. Like, I was already getting ready for a fight, like a month away. He said, but if you once you accept this fight, there's a good chance you're going to get a short notice call. Just keep just don't be all fat. I'm always training all the time, so I'm running every day. I'm in the gym every day. I'm in the gym 2 to 3 times a day. So it's like I'm busting out like 4 workouts a day. So I'm always just working, working, working. So even though they said it was short notice, like for me, when you're in camp or when you're training all the time, it's not really short notice. It's just, yeah, you don't know the opponent, but I'm a smart fighter. I like to I study fights all the time. I'm always in fighting. So when I got the name, once I think I watched his fights the day before weigh-ins. I got to I watch as much tape as I can. And I was like, oh, okay, this is his style. Because whether we admit it or not, everyone has a style because their lineage, right? Their coach, their coach, their coach. And then, okay, this is where they found kickboxing. Okay, blah, blah. You run it down. And everyone has a favorite fighter. And when you have a favorite fighter, you tend to emulate the style. So once I realized what type of fighter he was, I was like, okay, well, his favorite fighter, this is his weaknesses. Okay, if you're a kicker, then these are the, let's say, 50 kickers in the UFC. This is the 50 kickers in one FC. And I just run it all down. I just watch all how they win and lose. And then that's how I do the math in my head. So once I got the math down, I was like, okay, I know exactly how to get this guy up out of here. I've noticed his strengths. Okay, he likes a fight. Yantop. Like if you watch his fight with Slava Claus, like if Slava Claus is a good kickboxer, but it's still within the realm that Yantop is familiar with. That's why that was a split decision instead of my fight, which was just a finish. But if I would try to grind wrestle him, that's his style too. He does well against a uh in a war type of fight. And he's pretty good. His cardio's good. He's decent in the clinch, decent on the ground. But I noticed a lot of the guys he fought didn't have the IQ I have. They don't study like I do. They don't work and drill like I do. So yeah, it was again, I didn't care about won or lost, man. I'm not going to always won it, and I just had to trust myself, trust my coaches, and I knew I would get the job done. So yeah, man, it was crazy. The part that was crazy was not the fight, was that I'm actually in the UFC. That part was like that was the emotion, like just trying not to nerd out too hard about putting on UFC clothes, walking through walking to the cage, touching the cage. Like when we did our first warm up at the PI, yep, at the PI, like bro, I felt like an ant in this giant cage, and I was like, bro, like that freaked me out because I was like, bro, why do I feel so small in this cage? But then once I walked into the cage, I touched it, rubbed my feet on the mat, and I was like, oh, this is just like a regular cage. Like I fought in cages before, so it doesn't matter, and got the job done.
Hell yeah. Would you equate that to almost feeling like imposter syndrome, or is that the right word to use in that situation?
Shoot, I would say, yeah, man. I would say you. It's like that feeling of like, is this real? Like, how is like, what is this? What like? It made me question like it just made me question everything, man. It made me question like what it made me question like is it just real? Am I really here? Like am I like I'm like touching it like my coach had me warm up like and then even during the warm up I felt like I got so tired and you're cutting weight so you're a little bit more tired especially on a few days notice but I just felt super small. I was like, man, like it made me nervous. I was super nervous when we did the workout in that in the PI cage. But I tell my coach all the time, like once he put my flag on my shoulders, and when he put the flag on me, man, I was just like, I'm here. This is it. It doesn't even matter. It don't matter. This guy doesn't matter. None of this matters. All this camera and all this extra shit, none of it matters, man, because um this is my opportunity to say I'm the best in the world. And this is what I've always waited for. I thought I'm 29 now. I was 28 then, yeah, and I just like will I ever get a chance to just say, hey, I'm the best. I've competed with the best. I'm sure I'm the best. Or am I gonna just go out into irrelevancy? And I got to just show it, man. So yeah, I would say I'm very blessed, man, and it was a blessed opportunity, and I just won't take it for granted ever.
It's good to hear. It's all on your hard work, but it is still a special place to be in. Um, how long after the fight did it take for you to have that just sense of relief, just that stress to be lifted off?
Shoot, man, one bro. To be honest, I don't even know if I even felt like a stress more than just like more of a oh my god, I'm a UFC fighter for real. Like I'm really here, bro. When I grabbed his neck and I was choking him and I was squeezing him, and Herb like let go and pulled fight, bro. I just won a UFC fight. I just won a UFC fight, and I just felt myself in my head bouncing around like a fucking gumball, bro. Just going, I just won a UFC fight. I'm a UFC fighter forever now, you know. And that right there, bro, that changed me as a man. And like I said, just it cemented that, hey man, just even if you don't see it now, just keep working, keep farming, man, and eventually some will grow from it. And that's what I felt when I was out there.
How long had you had being a UFC fighter as one of your dreams?
Since I was 13 years old. The first time I've ever watched a UFC fight, I was with my cousins, my brother, and I was like, I want to be a UFC fighter, bro. I really want this. I want to do it. We used to have little mock matches where we'd touch gloves and then we'll wrestle, choke each other out. Then we'll like tally up our records with each other's, and then it was like so then if I win and I'm like, okay, I'm 1-0, now I gotta face this guy, and then like my cousin beat my other cousin, and then now we gotta fight, and then I'll go 2-0. And then like we always wanted to be undefeated and things like that. So 16 years, man.
Yeah.
16 years.
Did you have any training when you were doing your own little competitions there, or were you just
Nope.
scrapping with your friends?
Yep. Just we would just watch, study the moves, armbar, guillotine, triangle choke, kimuras, Americanas, all the we would just study positions, watch YouTube on that slow ass dial up internet, and we'll just study, study, study. I remember the big names: Forrest Griffin, Chuck Liddell, Anderson, Chris Lieben, Tito Ortiz. Shit, who else was big?
The Shamrock
Uh,
Brothers.
yeah, all those guys,
Yeah.
man. Nick Diaz, Nate Diaz, Matt Hughes, all those guys, man. So we would just watch all at it.
Yeah, man.
Rampage, Rashad Evans. So yeah, yeah, I
That's
could go on
awesome.
forever, man.
When was your first like MMA class or first
And
wrestling
I
class?
literally accidentally found training. Like I went to literally pick up my little brother from school, and there was like a flyer stuffed in the gate, and then I grabbed it, showed my mom, look, $100 for a month, let's go, and there you go. Never turned back since then.
Perfect. Um, how long did you stay with that team or that gym that you first walked into?
Till I was 19.
And then are
So
you
6 years.
okay?
Yep.
It's a solid amount of time, honestly. I'm sure you grew some pretty solid relationships with those guys.
Yeah, man, it was my first coach, man, was so mean. Like he just because like he was in the business for so long that like I remember the first day I walked in, I was like, "Hey, I'm here to try a class," and he just like looked up at me and looked back down and was like, "Sign the waiver." Like he was just such a rugged man, bro. So like it was just so I always laughed. I just remember being this like just like this little nerd of a kid, bro, that just was like so into fighting, just so excited to just get in the gym and just smell that gym air, see that mat, and just go, I'm finally on my way to my dream. Like, shit, bro. That shit was so cool, man. And then fucking learning, and then he eventually softened up, man, and started treating me like a son. And that was everything I needed.
When you then switched gyms, um, obviously you were looking to progress your career. You know, not all fighters in a gym are wanting to be a professional fighter. You know, a lot of them are just there to train. You know, they love the sport, whatever. That's me. I'm a hobbyist. I love jujitsu, but I know that I'm never gonna try to fight. Like I might do some jujitsu tournaments, but I don't like getting punched in the head. Um, so what was the biggest change when you changed gyms into your new gym?
The biggest change was so my gym had closed down. My the owner, my first coach just got tired of dealing with the landlord. So he was like, "Yeah, I'm tired of it. I'm gonna go." And for me, the biggest change, man, was just the loss of my foundation. You know, like it was like I felt so like lost and just like I didn't know what to do with myself. Like I didn't know how to conduct myself because I was a young man, you know what I mean? Like it's like when you're 18, 19, you still feel like you really haven't grown. Like you just feel like I'm still a kid, bro. Like I don't know what to do. So like I just sat home, remember the gym closed. I just sat at home and I was like, yeah, bro, I don't know what to do with myself now. Like, what now? And teammates, former teammates fight on in the UFC, and I saw that was in Hawthorne, and I was like, oh, Hawthorne is next door to me. So I just popped up in the gym, and yeah, I started training with the new team there. Uh, but for me it was hard, man, because I didn't. I just didn't know how to be. I just didn't understand how to be a man. Like I didn't understand like what do I do with my time? Because for me, like when I was in school, bro, all I did was this. I would get up, go to school. As soon as I got done with school, go to the gym, teach, and I would stay at the gym for like 5+ hours. I would just hang out, go do the next class, hang out, do the next class, do all the classes. So then like completely different. The training routine is completely different. How they train is completely different. So and it was in an environment where you're just it's like the real world. You know what I mean? It's like imagine like one day living with your parents, and then next day like you have your own apartment now. And now you gotta find a job, and then you gotta remember to pay your bills and remember to do these. So that's what it felt like because then I'd be like, okay, if there's no class now, then who do I go work with? And then you figure out, oh, there's different coaches for different things. And then you're just like, but I don't know him. And then you got to get to know a whole nother person. So like it confused me, man. I just I just didn't know how to function in that type of lifestyle. And everyone is so into their own life. And because you're just another one, another person, another fighter. And yes, I was an undefeated fighter. I think I was like 6-0 or something. Uh, but you're not the guy. You know what I'm saying? You're just some kid that came off the street that said, "Hey, I want to join your team," and I'm 6-0, blah blah blah. You know, so you're just another fighter. Versus my coach, who I was his fighter. You know, I was his only fighter at the time. So like when I had a fight, everyone in the gym focused in on me. Hey, Taco got a fight. Let's get him ready. And then my younger teammates started to follow me to the fight promotion. Versus there was like we got 8 guys with a fight. You know what I mean? And like you got to find your place uh in this fight college or in this fight world. You have to find your own place, and you got to it's like you got to find who to stick with and what times and things like that. So yeah, man, I was lost, if you really want me to be honest. Just it was a big world and I was still about this big, you know.
Yep. Um, yeah, I absolutely can relate to just that feeling of not knowing what to do, just feeling kind of lost. That's tough, especially with fighting. There's not really a plan B, you know, like
Yeah,
so.
yeah, you ain't lying about that.
um, do you feel like you work better with that kind of one-on-one coaching relationship or kind of the big team sort of relationship?
I feel like so like now I have like I found the middle ground, you know, where I have I have a place where I go train that's full of fighters, but then I have a place that's more like 5, 6 guys, 7 guys, you know, and then it was just like, but still all the team is we're all focused. Okay, these 2 guys got to fight, so they're going to be like right now. I have 2 teammates right now getting ready for 3 team uh out. Like since I just finished fighting, I'm healing up an injury. Like my coach focus on one while I come and watch the others and make sure the others following the game plan. Make sure the other guys are drilling this and to make sure the other guys are doing this. So it's like that now, you know. And even guys with me, like when I had a fight, these guys that focus on me, focusing on my game plan. The gauntlet is for me, but it's like, okay, he's going to be in the gauntlet, but we're not. We have to work with him, but not hurt him. We have to push him, but not injure him, right? So like, I like that style. I'm not like for me, I can't see myself going to like a big team, like out of state, like most people do. Go fly somewhere to go, you know, an ATT or like in like Colorado and things like that. I can't see myself doing that because I don't want to be another number in this large group, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit of reference. I'm from Montana, so I have to roll with my guy Sean O'Malley. Like he's my favorite fighter,
Hey.
just representing Montana. Um, and he has that relationship with Tim
I
Welch.
think
Also another Montana guy, but
he was expressing himself, bro. Like I'm gonna be honest, bro. Do you? If you wanna wear dye your hair, get tattoos, you know, live your lifestyle, hey, bro, do it. But like, I think people probably hating on from bro. He's willing to do the thing. Mad when they don't give you that attention. Period.
yep, yeah, no, I mean, you can't really argue that Sean is good at getting the camera pointed at him. He's really
Yep.
good at getting clicks, getting views, and he's one hell of a fighter too. The dude
Yep.
striking is very top tier. But
Yep.
I remember just watching him grow up in the sport, and he talks about Tim offering him his first chance to come down to Arizona and train because Montana, there is nobody fighting up here, man. Like he thought he was hot shit when he was, 16, 17, 18 years old. knocking out all these farm kids that have never fought a day in their life. Um, and he came down to Arizona training with Tim Welch, and he cried every day. I mean, the gym just broke him, because he was finally training with guys that had pro level aspirations. But Tim was able to be there, be his friend. You know, he slept on Tim's couch for a while, and they developed, not just a coach fighter relationship, but really a true friendship. So it's cool to see, both sides of the coin. Obviously ATT, aka they produce a lot of champions, but it's cool to see just a one-on-one coach also have those sorts of results. Um, do you see a future in coaching for yourself?
Uh, yes. It's funny. I was asked this. I was asked this. Uh, Not too long ago, and I say yes and no. Yes, because as a veteran and as somebody who got to see the game all around, that I I have to pass on what I know. I have to pass on what the experiences I picked up, the do's and don'ts. Again, I was telling you about how to fight smart but still be entertaining. So like it's my job to pass my style on to the next generation. But I personally want to be that coach that kind of just comes in, nods his head, gives a thumbs up, tell whoever's in charge of the main coach that he's doing a good job. If he has any questions for me, I'll answer. But I don't want to be in the gym too much as a like a traveling coach, like somebody that goes, "Oh, I need to be in the corner. I need to be here. I need to be here." Like once I feel like I found my disciple who can do that type of thing, I want to step back away from uh the training or the teaching and all that because I just don't want to be the person that's there for the money, for the fame, and for those things. Like I'm doing that myself. I've earned my own. I'm living that life now. I don't want to live that life through someone else.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up there a little bit. I don't.
Anime, I want to do things like that. So I don't really so on everything. I feel like I have
Again, if you can hear me, I'm sorry. We're having some technical difficulties. Oh, perfect. Can you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, just froze up for a minute there. Didn't
No
hear the
problem.
last little bit of what you were saying, but it sounds like you kind of want to be more of like a mindset coach or just something that's a little bit more removed from just the day to day coaching of teaching jujitsu or teaching kickboxing or something like that.
Yep, just hey, because I know what it feels like to be like a fighter, but you want to coach, but you're so tired. So like, hey, if my disciple says, "Hey, coach, do you mind holding pads for this guy? You mind doing this? Do something a little extra. I'm a little tired. You mind coming in teaching this?" I'll play that part, but I don't want to be a giant part of it.
Yeah.
uh Help them get their own facility. Like my job is to facilitate it at that point, not to control it. I don't want to control it after a certain age.
Yeah, that's super understandable. Um, Going back to earlier in your career, were you working another job to just support yourself as you were pursuing, the fight dream?
Oh, you move it.
Yep. Like I said, I don't want to take any more of your time if I'm having technical difficulties here. So I'll just wrap this up by, giving you an opportunity to say what's next for Chris Padilla and where can people find you?
Yeah, that's where I'm mainly at. So you guys want to follow me there. um Hopefully get to fight March or February. Yep. just healing.
Awesome. Thanks again for coming on the show. I apologize for the technical difficulties here. I'll get everything linked in the bio so people can find you. And good luck in your next fight.